I think when something I find interesting was there was a psychologist, evolutionary psychologist that was talking about. So they were asking him whether psychology is a science, a social science, and he was like,
If what is a social
psychology? No, if psychology is a science.
Oh, like a STEM science.
Like a science, and he's an evolutionary psychologist, right?
Oh,
and he did
that's
mathematics
hard.
as his bachelor's.
Ooh.
Before doing that. So his name is Gad Saad. I think what he said basically was, if done, the reason psychology is called a social science rather than a science is because they don't have a way of conducting it the way natural sciences are conducted with the scientific method to the letter.
Science is experimentation in essence.
But then the basis of like the natural sciences is because there's a scientific method that you have to adhere to.
Yeah.
If you reach an answer using the scientific method, someone else can test it out, come out with the same answer. Your theory is a valid theory, right? In psychology and sociology and some of the social sciences, what happens is they've made something that looks like the natural, like the scientific method, but isn't. Sometimes that's how some people come to, like, ridiculous hypotheses in psychology. Sometimes is because they basically, it's like, it looks like a duck, it feels like a duck, but it isn't a duck. In the same way as, so it looks like the scientific method, it feels like the scientific method, but it doesn't follow the basic principles of the scientific method. That's for some psychology. Which then means like...
But that's the thing, I think it depends from field to field.
It depends from field to field. But that's why the natural sciences are so good, because we've been able to nail a method that's been used for a long time. It's a reliable method.
Everything is sequential. You can put like anything into basically an algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Like if you think about all this maths, physics, computer science, like all of it is like chemistry as well. It's all computationally done, like these big calculations. Like as soon as like you put like certain things in psychology, sociology, or politics even is called the social science.
I don't know about that.
But like these subjects, certain things are very hard to put into algorithms, sequential things that like have a logic to it basically. That's the problem. That's the whole point of like, so I think natural sciences is that they just naturally stem from maths, which is the language of it, and it like when it has a like a logical form to it, everything just makes perfect sense. That's why everything just kind of falls instantly when like, so when something is discovered in physics and it is like experimentally proven, it just falls into place.
Irrefutable.
It's like if you were playing Tetris and all these blocks all fell in at once, perfectly matched.
But so what this guy was saying was, if you want to conduct a social science properly, you have to find an intellectually honest way of replicating the scientific method and mapping it onto the social science. Then it becomes very close to to like what you would call real science, right? So what he said was, because of the fact like, no, that's something else. I was gonna talk about stuff like evolution.
I would think that the problem is that we are trying, I feel like psychology is trying to add to biology, for example, where it is deemed like its own subject, right? But like I know for a fact, like I have an impression at least, like from listening to like biologists, and they basically say that like biology is in danger. Like they are basically
biology is in danger by by a gender-based social science.
Yeah, and it's basically being at this point like overwhelmed by all this philosophy, because philosophy is a very new subject compared to biology, very recent.
Philosophy is new.
Sorry, no,
psychology.
Sorry. Psychology is a very recent like subject compared to biology, and like biology has a lot more stronger fundamentals, right, which have been in place for a lot longer.
And the threshold to come across a biological theory, the threshold of evidence you need is so high that by far the most irrefutable theory in the entirety of science is basically the theory of evolution.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a theory that's had so much scrutiny the way evolution by natural selection and eventually sexual selection. But there's so many people that tried to shut evolution down, and as a result of that, the evidence that builds evolution had to grow and grow to such a point that if you try to shut evolution down, you basically cannot.
Yeah.
Which shows that it is the most effective
evidence.
The most effective theory out of any of the natural sciences, other than maybe theories in physics you don't need the same type of evidence as you would need in biology.
No, the thing is, in physics you don't even need proof that something exists. Like there's a lot of equations out there for these black holes and like a lot of this shit that like we've never actually conducted an experiment, but theoretically it exists. Theoretically, teleportation exists.
Are you talking about wormholes? You're talking about wormholes, not black holes.
Right?
Because we can take pictures of.
But like wormholes especially. Yeah. Like
we can theorize wormholes, but we don't know if
exactly. With biology,
we basically know that evolution is true.
Exactly.
But you know what's